They say life can change in a second. For me, it changed in the screech of tires and the sickening sound of shattering glass. My name is Hannah, and before that moment, I thought I had everything figured out. I was an architect on the rise, living in a cozy apartment I adored, and sharing my life with the love of my life, Lena. We'd been together for 3 incredible years, completely inseparable, head over heels in love. She was my rock, the calm to my storm, the one who saw a spark in me even when I was consumed by That night, everything was perfect. We were driving home, celebrating my big promotion. The rain was coming down hard, a rhythmic drumming against the windshield. Lena, ever the cautious one, kept telling me to slow down. I just laughed it off, feeling invincible. We'll be fine, I told her, a phrase that would haunt me for years. Then, out of the darkness, a blinding pair of headlights. A truck swerved violently into our lane. In that split second, the world went black. When I finally woke up, it was to the sterile, muffled reality of a hospital room. The world felt distant, like I was watching it through a thick fog. My body was a roadmap of pain, fractured right leg, cracked ribs. But the physical agony was nothing compared to the gnawing dread in my heart. I whispered, my voice raspy and weak. Where's Lena? The nurse looked at me with a pained hesitation before she answered. She's in another ward. She made it, but she hasn't left your side since you were brought in. The moment Lena walked into my room, I saw my broken self reflected in her eyes. It was a terrifying mix of fear, overwhelming love, and a shadow of guilt I couldn't yet understand. She took my hand, her touch both a comfort and a sharp reminder of what we'd lost. She leaned in close and whispered, her voice trembling, "You scared me, Hannah. Don't you ever do that to me again?" I managed a weak smile, completely oblivious to the fact that the hardest part of our journey had only just begun. Days bled into weeks, each one a new battle. The doctors were blunt. They said I might never walk properly again. My promising career vanished overnight. My design firm, with a mix of pity and practicality, replaced me. The medical bills started piling up, each envelope a crushing weight. And I felt my carefully constructed world collapsing, piece by painful piece. I started to push Lena away, convinced I was a burden. "You didn't sign up for this," I told her one night, the words tasting like poison. "You deserve someone who can dance with you, travel the world, live a full life." She just looked at me, tears welling up in her beautiful eyes, and her response shattered my self-pity. I signed up for *U*. Hannah, the woman I love, is still in there. That's all I need. But her unwavering love couldn't silence the anger raging inside me. I wasn't angry at her. I was furious at fate, at the universe, at my own foolishness. I hated being so dependent. I hated watching her work double shifts just to afford my physical therapy. I felt completely and utterly useless, a ghost in my own life. One morning, when Lena was out, I forced myself into my wheelchair and rolled over to the full-length mirror. The person staring back wasn't the woman I remembered. She was pale, scarred, broken. A wave of rage washed over me, and I grabbed the nearest Thinga water glass and hurled it across the room. It shattered against the wall, the sound echoing my own brokenness. I just screamed, a raw, guttural sound of pure despair. That's when the door burst open. Lena stood there, breathless, her eyes wide with alarm. She didn't say a word. She just crossed the room, knelt on the floor in front of my wheelchair amidst the broken glass, and wrapped her arms around me, holding me tight as I sobbed. She whispered into my hair, "You are still the most beautiful person I have ever seen." That night, she helped me take my first shaky, agonizing step with a walker. It wasn't graceful, it wasn't easy, but it was a start. It was mine. Recovery became our new normal. The months that followed were a blur of therapy, setbacks, and small victories. Lena, in her quiet, thoughtful way, filled our apartment with my old architectural sketches designs from before the accident. She said they reminded her of the dream we were going to build again someday. Looking at them, something inside me stirred. Slowly, I started to draw again. At first, my hand was so unsteady, the lines were just shaky scribbles. But I kept at it. Eventually, those scribbles turned into full-fledged designs on a whim. I sent one of my new concepts to my old firm, not expecting to hear anything back. But a few weeks later, my phone rang. It was them. They were offering me a remote design project. It wasn't the corner office I'd been on track for, but it was a lifeline. It was hope. I burst into tears when I told Lena. She just smiled, that smile that always reached her eyes, kissed my forehead, and said, "See? I told you. You're finding your way back." In that moment, I realized the profound truth of it all. She hadn't just stayed with me through the storm. She had saved me, not with grand, heroic gestures, but with quiet, relentless love, with unwavering patience, and with a belief in me that I had lost in myself. Exactly 1 year after the accident, I planned a surprise. I took her to that little hill where we used to watch the sunsets back when life was simple. I had packed a picnic just like old times. As the sun began to dip below the horizon, painting the sky in fiery colors, I handed her a small velvet box. Inside was a simple silver ring. "I thought I lost everything," I said, my voice thick with emotion, tears blurring my vision. "My career, my ability to walk, my future? But I never lost you, and I don't ever want to." She covered her mouth with her hand, a soft sob escaping her lips as tears streamed down her face. She looked at the ring, then back at me, her eyes shining. "You had me from the start, Hannah. Always." The sunset cast her face in a warm, golden light, and as I looked at her, I felt a sense of peace settle over me for the first time since the crash. For the first time, I felt whole again, because love doesn't always magically fix what's broken. Sometimes, its true power is just holding you together, piece by piece, until you find the strength to heal yourself. Thank you so much for listening to my story, if it resonated with you in any way. I'd be so grateful if you like this video and subscribe to the channel for more stories about resilience and the power of love. See you next time!